Welcome to episode 6 of the No Longer Fatherless podcast. I am Skip Simmons, and I am here with a very special guest, a dear friend, my pastor for over 10 years, someone who I look up to as a mentor myself. And without him, I don't know if NLF would exist at all. And if it does, it would certainly look much different. This is Pastor Pete Keirstead with Thrive Community Church. Welcome to the show, Pete.
Well, thank you. It's great to be here.
Thanks for coming.
Absolutely. I'm excited about what God is doing in your life and the way He's using you to impact our community. It's a powerful thing to have been a part of, watching the beginning of it, and man, it's great.
We had a pretty special full circle moment this past weekend. So we started going to Thrive over 11 years ago.
Yes.
And this was after my wife got saved and baptized, and I got recommitted, brought back to God. And it was through First Baptist Orlando, which we were watching on TV.
Yeah.
And we were sitting around just hungry to get involved in a local church. And I said, hey, I know there's a church at Spruce Creek High School.
Yeah.
You want to go check it out?
And where did you go to school?
Spruce Creek High School.
Okay.
Raquel and I both graduated from there.
It was a match made in heaven.
Yeah, so we knew exactly where to go.
Yep.
And our son was probably less than 2 months old
Yeah.
when we started going to Thrive.
He was in a little car seat.
Yeah, his little car seat stroller.
Uh-huh.
And he got dedicated on the stage
Yeah.
in very soon after we started going there. He was probably 2 to 3 months old. And this past Sunday, he's now 11, and he had his first serve on the Thrive Dream Team in preschool area. So he loves being around kids as well.
Yeah.
And Pete got to pray over him for his first serve, and it's just an emotional, amazing moment.
Well, it really is. Maybe as we're talking about it, it might be the very first time I've dedicated an infant and then prayed over him, dedicated him again now as a servant in the house of God. So that's pretty great.
Yeah, that's some discipleship there.
Yeah.
Then we hope for those stories in NLF where we're somewhat young right now, but we cannot wait till we get a kid in our mentor class who went through the program, or I meet with a pastor one day and he was a part of the program.
Yeah.
So we haven't seen those full circle moments yet, but
Yeah.
we will.
Yes, you will. Yeah. You've got a great ministry here. I think, is it 100 mentors?
So that was a big goal for us. And with our current class we're in right now, will put us over 100 mentors.
Yeah. And it's a slow process, much like ministry, but it goes fast. It's a slow process that feels like it goes fast.
And to me, what it's felt like on my personal journey is God didn't trust me with what I have now, even, 10 years ago, 8 years ago, 5 years ago, that He wasn't going to throw 100 mentors and 100 families when I wasn't ready. And it's grown at the pace it should.
Yeah. He's pretty bright in knowing when to open up the next door of opportunity and when to allow us to sit in whatever the situation is. I think we all find ourselves in situations where we pray, all right, God, get me out of this. And think that the getting out is the blessing, but sometimes the blessing is being in the moment, in the situation. So,
yeah, there's a lot of tough situations that we go through and have to figure out that just make us stronger and help us learn for encountering that next time.
Yeah.
And I've been doing some reflecting lately, and it may be why I asked you to come on the podcast. You're a busy man, but I appreciate you coming. I was cleaning out my office last week and found a prayer journal from 2016.
Yeah.
I sent Pete a couple of the pictures. One was praying for a building for Thrive, which a lot of people were praying for. So
Yeah.
I'm not going to pretend my prayer was.
Well, you're the one who got us there.
Yeah. So now there's a building being put up.
Yes.
On
It's on Williamson.
I always get those.
Hey,
Airport Road, technically.
I don't know anymore. But that is a bit of a story itself because, we started praying for something back in 2016, but it wasn't until 2020 that we bought the property. So there was some 4 years of preparation just to get to the property. And then now we're 5 years later and we're just about ready to have a permanent place to call home, having been at the high school for now 13 years.
Yeah.
It was sometimes it felt like it's gone quick and sometimes slow. So but it's been an incredible journey, and had God been moving on our timeline, I know that while we might have had a building sooner, some of the lessons you learn in the process of just going through the process, and any process, you don't get any other way. So it's been good.
It's a lot to think about.
Yeah.
Raquel and I have been talking that once we actually get a building, how weird it is going to be, because we've only ever, basically in our adult life, been in a church in a high school.
Well, yes, and Thrive was birthed at that high school. It's going to be weird all the way around.
Say you've never had an office in your church?
Not with this ministry, no. So in a previous ministry, I did, but since we started Thrive, we've been on the move and mobile. So for the first few years, first year was in a house. And then after that, we got just a small little office. And it's hard for folks to conceptualize how complex it is to have a lot of your stuff in one place while you're doing something in another place. About the best way to describe it is a couple times in our life we've moved. And as you move your house, there's this phase in the move where you've got some stuff at one place, some stuff at another place. You don't know where it is, what box it's in. And it's 13 years of every Sunday trying to pull a church off like that.
It's going to be amazing.
It's going to be pretty great.
That's similar to the stage we're in with NLF, because all of our employees work remote. Our mentor trainings are at Jesus Church.
Yeah.
Our events are basically wherever we can partner with an organization, a venue. And so I have a shed, a trailer, a garage. We have coolers everywhere, stuff everywhere.
And it's quite the endeavor when you have 100 mentors, 100 volunteers, several staff members, and now you're trying to pull an event off with those numbers in someplace that's not permanent. I think it highlights your level of leadership and your ability to follow the Lord and fulfill vision. So congratulations.
And thankfully for my father, Ernie, who is the OCD organized one. So every time we have an event, he comes over the next week and puts everything back in its rightful place. So we have a little event in a trailer, basically all of our chairs, tables, tents, sports equipment, banners, flags, just all the stuff, coolers we need to set up. And Ernie does a great job of keeping that in order. It would be a little messy if it was only up to me.
Yeah.
That's just, maybe a flaw, you could say, of my personality.
Well, I find that God called you to this. So apparently he's okay.
Yeah. He's okay without perfection.
He is. And he brings us exactly what we need and who we need.
And another prayer I wrote down in that journal was sort of a list of ways I thought Thrive could improve as a church. And coming in at number 9, I'm sort of a little embarrassed why I put it all the way down at 9, but it was basically a intentional ministry of caring for the orphans and widows. And this was about 5 months before we created No Longer Fatherless. Yeah. So I thought that was pretty special that it had been on my heart for a few years.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what that was going to be.
Yeah.
And then it finally happened.
Mm.
So you think prayer works?
I do. I do think prayer works, but I think in your particular case, we say prayer changes things. I think it does, but I think prayer changes us, and then we change things. In your particular case, you saw a need, and rather than do what far too many Christians do, is complain about the need they see within their church, you did something about it. Here I am, Lord, send me. And now you've got a tremendous organization that I've been able to form relationship with my mentee, and it's, what would God do if every believer in the church who sees a problem with their church decides to simply serve in that area of the problem?
Well, you may not realize this, but that is your leadership style, and that's been a lesson you've taught me since the beginning, because people will bring ideas to you, and I want a group for young adults to have dinner. I want a group to go clean up the beach, whatever their passion may be. And then you say, how are you going to make this happen?
Correct. I have plenty of vision for myself. I've got no more need for more ideas. Mm-hmm. What are you going to do?
Mm-hmm. But oftentimes it's that push and empowerment and nudge that people need to get off the prayer journal or the soapbox, the social media, and do it themselves. And some people know the story, sort of the origin of when my purpose changed, and it was studying Wild at Heart.
Yeah.
In chapter 4, the wound. But what a lot of people may not know is that you were the leader of that group, along with Rob, and it was at your home.
It was.
In your living room.
Yes.
Where this moment happened.
Yeah.
Where God turned the light bulb on and revealed something that was on my heart, but I guess I couldn't really pin it down.
Yeah. And you're an interesting anomaly, because we have this thing in the counseling world. It's called the wounded healer syndrome. So you get people who come in with a story and some baggage, and it means something to them, and they want to impact the world so that it does not happen again. And I can remember us sitting around the circle where we're processing our childhood and areas where things were great and things were not so great. And I did not have a father figure in my life, and we're lamenting all of these woes and these pains. And I can remember so clearly you saying, I don't think I have a wound. I had an excellent father. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, sure you did. I didn't know him at the time, but come to find out, you're right. And so for you, it was out of your strength, and it was out of your area of strength, really, that God began to do something unique and special in the lives of so many young people. And it's like, it is both rare, but also very, very beautiful that God would take someone such as yourself who has an awareness of the need, not from his own brokenness, but from his health and strength, and can do something that way.
And I had always been connected with kids, family and cousins and, school and things like that, but I'd never pursued anything like that. We actually had an outreach in college where we went to a tough neighborhood and we were on the football team and got to pour into these kids for a couple hours and, play football and talk to them. And it was a moment I'll never forget. Just realizing once you show them attention and love, where literally like 5 kids hanging on you and, literally wanting to go home with you, just as you showed them some love that obviously they're lacking. And I don't know if you remember, but the first time we visited Thrive, I actually sent you an email after a service. You didn't respond, but it's okay. We're not here to talk about that.
No, we're not. And I'm sure it didn't bother you one bit.
But it was talking about that experience and asking if you guys had any sort of outreach. I can't remember if I said for fatherless boys or for at-risk youth, but it was on my heart. That was probably 4 years later when we visited Thrive from that experience.
Yeah.
So it was something that God kept bringing back to me.
Yes.
I didn't have an answer for it yet.
Mm.
In our first time we visited Thrive, I grew up in sort of like a Presbyterian or Baptist church, and it was formal and choir and really put you to sleep. Having a service for a child. So when I first visited Thrive, I thought the music was too loud.
Yeah. Yeah. We hear that. When we could hear, we can't hear anymore, but yeah, we've heard that.
But I love it now.
Good.
I didn't know what I was talking about. That was just from my past experience.
Yep.
So talking about some of the lessons you've taught me, one was about the, basically, you think of an idea, how are you going to make it happen?
Yeah.
Rather than giving it to someone else. Another powerful one you taught me was when you're going to meet with, say, a leader or someone whose time is valuable, someone who maybe they are granting you the opportunity to meet with them for their time, is to respect that meeting and have ultimate preparation. So nice. I think the example you gave was like 20 minutes of preparation for every minute you're going to meet with them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's something I think about a lot.
That's good. Yeah, there's nothing more encouraging if I have someone who wants to pick my brain, that they come in already with a notepad of questions, because it helps me see that, yeah, they're real serious about wanting what little I've got to offer. And conversely, I've had experiences where I've been blessed to sit before some folks that I really respected. And one story in particular was I went and we were just in the process of starting Thrive. And I had an opportunity to meet with a pastor of a multi-site large church. I went in with my list of questions and questions I would want to be asked if roles were switched. And when I left that meeting, that pastor, so appreciated the preparation that they became the first really big supporter, both in terms of prayer and support and finances of the ministry. And so it was a lesson that paid big dividends. And so I'm sure a part of your success has been a result of just respecting people enough to be prepared for the meeting.
Yeah, you don't want to go into a meeting with someone who can be offering a lot to you and then asking them a question you could have figured out on your own prior to the meeting. Got to get to some useful information.
Yes. Do all the Google work ahead of time so that you don't ask them a question you could figure out by reading the website.
So at Thrive, you have a worship team?
We do have a worship team.
And then another lesson was potentially uncomfortable for you. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But it was probably around 2017, 2018. And you gave the example of Paul and Timothy.
Yeah.
When Paul was going to evangelize and visit churches in different areas, and Timothy was a Gentile, not a Jew. And Paul was basically saying, God doesn't have a problem with this. I don't have a problem with this. But if we're going to areas where it's 100% Jewish people, they may not view you the same. And he asked them to get circumcised, this is not what Pete asked me to do it. Should have started out with.
Yeah, well, by the way, no, but I can recall the story. I know where you're going.
Yeah, so his sort of example for that story, and he gave me the line to circumcise your keyboard.
Yes,
and
correct.
Social media is quite apparent these days, and a lot of people think their opinion needs to be out there for everything in their life.
Yeah.
And so Pete shared with me that, you need to be aware of things you're posting and the people it can affect. And just now, for example, with the organization, we have, something north of 350 people between the mentors and families. And I don't need to post a reaction to everything that happens in the world.
Yeah.
And it might anger some of the people that we have in our organization.
Well, and that's the thing. If we are surrounding ourselves with people who are just like us, fine. Then they're all going to be very happy with everything that comes off your keyboard. But we are a people who believe we don't alienate the people we're trying to reach. And so with that in mind, we're always looking to expand the Lord's reach in diverse groups in different settings and people from different backgrounds. And so we have to be very sensitive not to be putting forward thoughts and ideas that we may have that may be very valid, but the recipients on the other end, they're just not ready to hear it yet or ready to process it. So yeah, Paul, if Paul were alive today, he would have told Timothy to circumcise the keyboard, man.
That's a lot easier than the alternative.
Yes, it is. But it also highlights in Paul's mind and Timothy the lengths we are willing to go to reach the next person. And some people are, I would hope that all of us will go to any length necessary to reach one more for the Lord. But I got to tell you, as you see, in today's very divided society, I don't feel like we're doing everything necessary to reach one more for the Lord. It just feels like oftentimes we're just gathering around us people who will say what we want to hear and who want to hear what we have to say. We're creating not a diverse body of believers, but it just seems like they are becoming more and more homogenized as time goes on.
Yeah, I'd love to talk to you about Jesus if you voted for this person.
Yes.
Or how do you stand on this certain issue?
Yeah.
Oh, then you can come to my church.
Yes.
That's not written in the scripture, I don't believe.
Well, it's not helpful for sure.
So that kind of segues into something that you helped us with from the beginning. You actually gave the advice to not register as a Christian organization legally. So as far as, filing with the state and the IRS, how we're viewed on paper is not a Christian organization. But in our mentor training, the first page we have is our faith. And it talks about this wouldn't exist without God. And we give God all the credit. And I agreed with you at the time that, this will not alienate us from serving whoever wants to come on board. And I see it as an evangelism opportunity.
Yeah.
Because people know we're open about our faith. And like summer camp, for example, we baptized 7 kids.
Wow.
We've had boys who go to church with their mentors and get saved and baptized and involved in youth group.
Yeah.
And some churches haven't worked with us because we're not exclusively a Christian organization.
Yes. How was that for you processing that?
it's frustrating because everything we're doing is literally, God says it's his heart in the Bible.
Yeah.
And so I just wonder, if you're not going to work with us, who's going to support the fatherless in your church?
Yes. If you're not working with us to take care of the most vulnerable, what are you doing to take care of the most vulnerable? And typically the answer is, well, nothing.
So that can be frustrating. I do understand their perspective.
I do not, but that's just me. I do think that following Jesus is about living the way he lived and not necessarily having all the right theology, but absolutely all the right character. And theology is not to be disregarded, but it doesn't take half a second to see that this organization is not only living out the gospel in its mission, but also is not hiding the fact that you are and your family and your staff are heavily involved in your churches and looking at the mentors you have and the kids you're serving and how they're being served. It does not take but a few moments to step back and look at the organization and see, oh no, Jesus is very present and at work in this ministry. It's just that they are wise as serpents and harmless as doves, in that they were sure to, again, not alienate the people they're trying to reach, because whether we like it or not, the Christianity does have a PR problem among some people. And so you've made sure that you can reach anyone with the gospel by bringing it in through character rather than title.
Yeah. And people also hesitate because they say, well, if you're not a Christian organization, how does that prevent us from living out our faith? And we have received zero resistance. We even have a grant through the state where they awarded churches the grant because part of DCF's vision is they cannot support everyone, and they need the people who are in the trenches doing the work to take that mantle and reach these people. So they're even, giving government funds to go support these communities. And so the only resistance we've had with that sort of just wording on a sheet is from the church, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, we Christians, we are good at a lot of things. And one of them is disagreeing. So doesn't surprise me.
But we're going to keep on.
You keep on keeping on, man.
We're going to keep on growing and keep on spreading our faith.
That's right.
And you were one of the first people we met with when we came up with this idea. Thrive helped us with our 501c3 application to be able to afford that. We didn't have any funding at the time.
Yeah.
Do you remember any of your thoughts back then as far as like, are these guys crazy? Could this grow into something?
Well,
is it going to die?
If I'm not mistaken, you were working for us at that time. Is that right? Were you? So you were our children's ministry director. So yeah, that was a no-brainer.
That's good.
Yeah, that was a no-brainer. That you would. And before you were working with us, you were serving at Big Brothers Big Sisters. Is that right?
Boys and Girls Club.
Boys and Girls Club. So you were already displaying everything that we would want to see in someone where, again, we get a picture or a vision from the Lord, but oftentimes we don't put some of our own footwork in. It's not like you sat down with an idea and said someone should one day have an organization that matches mentors with young men who have no father. Someone should do that one day. And then you okay, well, I will do that. That's a great next step. Many don't take. I will do that. But there's also a whole lot of other little footwork things you did. Again, working with Big Brothers, Big Sisters, being involved in our children's ministry. I mean, you did a lot of footwork before the day actually came for us to write. In hindsight, what really was a small check. So for us, there was no doubt, no hesitation.
And there was a lot of, we call them next steps at Thrive,
Yes.
that I've taken that through the empowerment of leadership, such as Raquel showed me a picture the other day of my first devotional that was at 21 Days of Prayer in a room of probably 15 people. And I was terrified and read it off of note cards. And then, the leader's not saying, well, that didn't go so well. We're going to put you on the bench.
Yeah.
To, making me continue to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And all right, you're going to lead the next devotional at 21 Days of Prayer. And then you're going to lead this other devotional in front of more people. And then 2018, you guys sent me an email to lead communion, which I almost dropped my computer in water and walked out of the room.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's pretty scary at first.
It's a different environment for sure than our little prayer closet to be up on stage with hundreds of people looking at you.
But I tell people it was like God unlocked a new level for me whenever I did that, because I was terrified when I got the email. And of course I said, yeah, I'm going to do it.
Of course, that's what we do.
And then went up there and led it. And once it happened, it was like, this is almost better than a small room of 10 people.
Yeah.
When you have 300, and really showed me, what I was capable of. And it was interesting. A month later, I had my first speaking opportunity for NLF. So it was like all these preparations through my faith journey and through my journey with Thrive that have equipped me to become a better leader for NLF.
That's awesome.
So it's been a wild journey.
Yes. Yep. And God's doing a great work through it.
And we've probably had over 30, 40 mentors just from Thrive. You guys have invited me to speak every year, not only in services, but small group Sundays and our men's camps, and just have been so supportive at every level and sponsoring. So that's why I say I don't know what we would look like without you guys. The idea came in your living room in a small group, and you guys have just been supportive at every level. And I know I've told you these things at different points over the years, but I've just been reflecting on the whole picture of impact. So
wow, that's awesome.
It's also your baby.
Yes, and I feel some ownership. So absolutely, I feel honored to have been there in the living room at the beginning and been able to be involved when it became a reality on paper with the state, and stoked about being involved in every other thing along the way. So it does a joy to my soul to see what happens through the body of Christ outside of the four walls of the church. That is really where the rubber meets the road and the gospel's lived out. And so to see a lot of our congregation members be involved, man, it's a good thing. It's so good.
And we talk about next steps and dream team and small groups.
Yeah.
And I just want this to be a testament of what people can do when they trust God and they trust your spiritual leaders, when they ask you to do something, or when you bring something to Pete and he says, you do it.
Yes.
It's not him being lazy. It's empowering you to take that over and make it something beautiful. So when you buy into what they're doing, I mean, it can change your life and change a whole lot of other people's lives.
Yeah.
been quite a ride.
It has, and it's been good. And you're just getting started. I mean, you're hitting that place of critical mass, it feels like, so that you can really begin to have every life is important and every mentor-mentee relationship is significant. But whether it's a church, an organization, a business, there is this critical mass point where you're too small to have a big impact. But as you begin to expand in size, your impact, it doesn't just increase, it becomes exponential in nature. So you're in a great spot for what the future holds as an organization.
It's a pretty terrifying spot.
It is pretty terrifying, but that's how Jesus loves it.
Yeah. So we'll see what we're ready for.
Absolutely.
As far as God is concerned. And I've talked to people about sort of our natural organic internet impression where we've gotten registrations from all across the country.
Okay.
I've gotten one this week from Texas. We've gotten them from Spain and London and Africa. So people search these terms, mentoring and fatherless boys, and they find our site and just register before getting any further.
Well, it's quite the commute.
Yeah. But the need is international.
It is.
So that's pretty intimidating to think about building an empire like that.
Yeah. You'll need a jet for sure.
Oh, man. We're not ready.
No, you're good.
We'll get to look back on this and laugh one day when we are ready.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens.
Well, man, I'm proud of you.
Thank you. And you are a lead pastor.
I am.
For Thrive Church.
Yes.
How long have you been a lead pastor?
Well, Thrive is not my first ministry. I had another one for 10 years. And so let's see, 10 plus 13, 23.
23.
Yep.
And I think our paths can be somewhat similar in a sense that you had a lot of different passions and careers prior to this.
Yes, I did. But as I've thought it through, there seemed to be a common theme among them all. And it involved mentoring, teaching, being a guide in someone's life. So whether I was a school guidance counselor or a gymnastics coach or teaching ground school at Embry-Riddle, being a marriage and family therapist, all of these things, and all of them, I found myself really just providing people with opportunities to take some next steps in their lives, to grow. I guess the catchphrase these days is life coach. It seems like I've always been a life coach.
Nice.
But I've done it in like 9 different careers.
Yeah, you probably didn't realize that till
I did
recently.
not. Yes, correct. I did not. So it seemed like God had always laid out the path, and I'd always been doing it, just not quite aware. And similar to yourself, you were working, you had a passion, you were working with kids, you were doing all of these things, and it just took a little bit of time for it all to gel.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think that's a spiritual lesson. We sometimes think about destiny and purpose, and we often put that out to the future. Like, one day, this one thing will happen, and that will, for me, unlock my destiny. But I would say the easiest way to process who God has called me to be is simply to look back at my past and what has been the common themes. Where have I always gravitated towards? What is it that has always been a part of my Christian journey? And that might be very well what God wants to do with you in your future. And so rather than look forward to destiny, forward to purpose, maybe it's right in front of us right now. Maybe we're even living it out in some of the little things we're involved in.
Mm-hmm. We could have used you this morning at our men's group.
Okay.
that was the exact question that somebody brought up, is about their purpose.
Yeah.
And trying to find what that means.
Yeah.
And just trying to encourage them that, God calls us to in relationship with him, and that you are enough.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be, like you said, some distant thing in the future that you have to find out. Where were you at 6:30 this morning?
6:30, the Lord and I were talking in dreams, and
Being a pastor, that's something I said as a kid that I wanted to be for a short time. And then people have asked me over the years if that's something I've been interested in. And I give a very quick no, very stern no.
yeah.
And that is a really tough career to choose.
I would say yes and no. So now the stats are not great. But here's the thing. I think sometimes there's been confusion in people's lives because they have an encounter with the Lord. They want to draw closer to him. They love him, and they're so appreciative of what he's done in their life that they want to spend their lives serving him. Okay. And then they make this big jump that involves vocational ministry and Bible college. And that's not necessarily the case. Being a tremendous father and husband has multi-generational impact on the people you love the most. I mean, that's destiny. Being a father to a fatherless, that's destiny. That's purpose. Involving yourself in a local fellowship, that is destiny and that is purpose. And all of those things have eternal impacts, but often that's overlooked. And so people, because it doesn't seem like it's, big enough for the Lord, so people will put themselves into a ministry situation when God's not exactly called them to that life, but rather to be a minister in the world he has called them to. So I think that's in one part why the stats are bad. Part two is that we people, when we come to Jesus, it's because we have great need. We're broken and we're hurt, and we come to him and he saves us and delivers us from our sin, and something spiritual happens. But the character transformation from who we are when he finds us to being as Jesus to the community around us, that takes time. And it's a long process of sacrifice and surrender and humility. And a lot of people just don't walk that journey. And so we have people in church on Sunday who love Jesus, have been saved by him, but have yet to transform their character. And those are the people who can make the ministry hard, because they are a part of the congregation, been there for 30 years, and they still operate as someone who's been saved for a year. And so those make it hard, but we remind ourselves that, hey, we're not here to feel good about ourselves. We're here to take the next steps that God puts in front of us. And those next steps involve loving and serving his people. And I will tell you, for every down day, there's been 6 or 7 up days.
Yeah.
I mean, I get a bad email from somebody, and that's fine, but it doesn't take me long to look around at people such as yourself who, Paul said, you are my crown. You are my reward for the work. And I can see that. To come back to your story, I have a opportunity to be a small part of something that God is doing that is reaching people that I won't reach. And yet there's still some connection there. It's worth it, man. It's worth it.
Yeah, and that's something I was reflecting on, just thinking of my story in relation to pastors, like how much fruit you never see probably until you get to heaven.
Yeah.
Of all the people you've invested in and prayed in and empowered, who have gone to start small groups, start ministries, moved out of state and led churches that you don't get to see day to day.
Yeah.
But I imagine when you get to heaven, God will say, little Lion King scene.
Uh-huh.
Look at all you impacted your
Yes,
days.
yes, that's good.
But don't go to the shadows
No.
or eat the fruit. And your words, you've said you had a failed ministry. I won't say that, but
No,
that's what you've called it.
on the outside, it never really took off. And so, yes, for all outside appearances, it never reached the hope or the dream or the vision that I had in my heart. Of course, though, it is the foundation of what became Thrive. I mean, we don't become who we're becoming without going through what we've gone through. So I do have to acknowledge that while the ministry itself never took off, it broke some things in me in a very good way that needed to be broken. The Lord says, "A broken and contrite spirit I do not despise," in Psalm 51. That sometimes we need that humility and that surrender and that brokenness that comes when things don't go the way we had hoped. And that's not a bad thing.
What do you think were some lessons you've learned as a leader with Thrive over these 13 years compared to just starting out, because you were basically a new believer and you had a pastor leave and were sort of vaulted into leadership perhaps sooner than it should have been?
Well, and I had it was a phase of life. I was much younger then, and so it was when you're in your 30s, you're trying to get somewhere in life, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just a phase of development you're just trying to climb the hill, find a place. And so I viewed ministry and success in ministry in terms of numbers and size, and it's different now 20 years later because I'm a different human in a different phase of life. And now success in ministry isn't what's in front of me, but it's what's behind me. So I don't know that I would hope I could have had that worldview back then, but I don't know. But I do know that the young people we have on staff now, I'm very diligent in pouring into them. It's not what's in front of you that matters. It's what you're going to be leaving behind. Stay focused on the things that are most important, the people around you, and all of those lessons, I think, that I kind of learned through the School of Hard Knocks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have to go through those fires too.
We do.
Become a diamond.
Absolutely.
You think you're a diamond yet?
I don't know. There's a song, "I'm going to be a diamond someday." So, but definitely keep on keeping on.
And is it true that your first date with your lovely wife, Shaylin, was in the Spruce Creek High School auditorium?
Absolutely. Everything beautiful in my life happens in that auditorium. So, yes, our very first date was there. It was a Christian concert that rented the auditorium. So we've just celebrated. June was 32 years. So it was a little while ago.
Are you allowed to give us a year on that first date?
Okay. It might have been early 92.
So 1992, you have your first date in the auditorium.
Yeah.
Where you would take over for your new ministry. 30?
Something like
30 years later. Almost exactly.
Wow.
You got to find, was Thrive 2012?
Yes.
So if that's true, that would be 30 years later.
That's a whole lifetime.
I wonder if you found an exact.
How old are you?
36.
Okay. All right.
So I was 6 years old when you guys embarked on your first date.
Yes.
Did it go well?
I think it was all right. We had a second, so
Okay.
I could tell you, I would be able to tell you what she was wearing. It was that moment. See, I had already known that she was the
Oh,
one.
yeah. She didn't know it yet.
No, it took me a while to convince her, but yeah.
Similar to me.
Mm.
When Raquel and I were talking, as young teens do for probably a couple of months. And it would be, an hour at night and multiple times a day. And then her friend basically said, Skip is really interested in you and wants to date you, right? She's like, what? I had no idea. I thought we were just friends. And then so finally got the clue that
Got it.
I wanted her to be my wife. Didn't know that yet, but
Yeah.
on your first date, did you do a little move when it was cold in there? And
No moves. No moves. No, I was petrified.
that's such a special story to look back on. Just little funny things that God throws at you
Yeah.
that you have no idea till 30 years later.
Yeah. Yeah. I can almost remember where we were sitting. So there's a few special seats in that auditorium.
You got to mark them.
Yep.
With like gold plates.
Yes. It all started here.
1992.
Absolutely. Yep.
We are closing in on the time you have to go pick up your favorite daughter.
Yes.
Favorite child.
We don't have favorites.
Off the line.
But if we were stranded on a deserted aisle, I know who I would eat first. And which one would go last.
So you have 3 kids.
Yes.
Emma,
Yep.
the youngest daughter, the only daughter.
Yeah.
And Caleb, middle boy. And Christian, oldest boy.
Yes.
I love seeing the boys at Thrive every weekend.
Yeah.
They're always smiling and come up to me and high five, and we talk about football and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I've got some kids who really love Jesus and they love the church. So it's what every dad would hope for.
Mm-hmm. So we've talked about the journey for NLF.
Yep.
And how far it's come over the years with a lot of support from Thrive. And over this past year, you decided that you wanted to mentor rather than just watch from the stands. Did you have sort of a moment that helped you decide that that was something you wanted to do?
Yes, I did. It was a moment. So there had been a gentle nudge from the Lord, but it was so gentle that I was able to shake that one off. But I think it was the gala last year, maybe, where Seth Jones and that whole story and his mentee, and that video testimony, and the young man was asked, what has it been like for you to have a mentor like Seth? And he said, it has filled a hole in my heart. And when I heard that, I was like, oh, darn it. Oh, I'm going to have to be a mentor. I just know it now. I can't hear that and not be challenged and stretched. And so that's when I knew, all right, Lord. And that's when I began the process. And, I was hesitant for quite some time, because my life is full of activity and busyness and being involved in ministry. You're always dealing with some drama situation, and I didn't feel like I had bandwidth to take on one more situation. And so I don't have time, and I do have time, but now I don't have the emotional capacity. But I will tell you that once I felt the Lord, you gotta go. What you do great in the organization is that you are super prayerful and intentional in matching the mentor with a child and you said it during the training, you're going to feel like this was the hand of God who connected you two. And it's like, yeah, right, whatever. No, it has been absolutely. In fact, I think of, because in my instance, I was paired with a young man, uh, and it never materialized because there was some disengagement on the family side. And so then I got Jackson, and Jackson is the exact perfect child for me. The family dynamic is good. I'm not his social worker. I'm not his, uh, he's a very quiet individual, and I am wired as an introvert myself. So if we're not doing a podcast, I'm sitting silently. And so we'll go to grab a piece of pizza together. How's school? Good. Cool. And we're just enjoying each other's presence. So it has been, he's the perfect, absolutely perfect mentee for me. And you all provide plenty of opportunity for there to be some things that can happen. You've provided opportunities through gift cards. There's a swimming thing at Daytona Lagoon. And so one of the hesitations was that I would have to figure out what to do with the boy, but you've made sure that we have plenty of opportunity. So when I sit back and think about the divine connection, and I think about all of the resources you provide us that we don't have to carry the load alone, I don't know why anyone would not be involved. And for myself, on the one hand, I could kick myself for having been a distant supporter for so long, but I know now I was waiting for Jackson and Jackson was waiting for me.
That's pretty cool. That's a great perspective. Thank you for the encouragement.
Absolutely.
We've realized that the mentors are everything in the organization. And so that's a primary focus, is trying to not only train them so they'll, have no surprises, that they'll be trained and know what to expect, and then also providing those resources. So not only tangible things like gift cards and partnerships in the community, but support, being there for them and constant contact and solving problems.
Yeah.
We're not batting 1,000 on our matches, but we do have
real close
scenarios where it's evident God
Yeah.
ties the knot for us.
Yes.
We had one from our last class, this mentor, Gary, who lives in Venetian Bay.
Okay.
And we had a couple boys on the waiting list in New Smyrna, Edgewater, who were probably 6, 8 years old. And Gary has a offshore fishing boat. So he wants to incorporate that in his mentoring. And he didn't feel comfortable with a younger boy taking them offshore. And so we said, okay, we'll, brainstorm and see if we can come up with somebody. It could be further away that we can match you with. And then we got a registration a week later, a 12-year-old young man in Venetian Bay. And so I made a Facebook post about it, just excited.
Yeah.
We didn't have anyone. And then look, this kid in the same neighborhood signed.
Yeah.
And then the mom messaged me privately, and the father was a firefighter who passed away. And she said the way him and his dad connected was offshore fishing.
Oh my goodness gracious.
So that's just stuff you cannot explain.
Yes. Yes.
And Ernie matched them last week and said instantly they were talking about fishing tackle and
oh my goodness
fishing trips.
Yeah.
The mom was sitting there like, I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
Wow.
So it's just so special to see what happens and God leading us and the impact on these boys, that this young man lost his father too soon, which is terrible and unfair.
Yeah.
But now there's a resource where he can pursue that passion he had with his dad.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful.
And, I think that highlights too something that I did not quite understand early on, is that we don't have to fix anyone's problems. We just have to be there and stay consistent with it. And even if it's grabbing a slice of pizza or throwing a baseball or whatever it's been. I've had opportunities to take, he goes to karate, so sometimes I've taken him, and just hanging out in the waiting room. When all the other parents are walking around or leaving or on their phones, I just sit there and watch. And it's low, no impact on my bandwidth, but just the presence is investing.
Yeah, that's always been the biggest thing for me. It's great to have numbers and, make sure they're excelling in school and not going to jail and things like that. But just the most beautiful thing for me is this kid has no male role model, father figure in his life, and something we're wired to have. And then now he has that presence and support and encouragement and teaching him how to be a man and a father and a husband.
Yeah.
So that's immeasurable.
It is.
I would say.
It's good. Real good.
Well, Mr. Keirstead has to go pick up his favorite child.
No, not exactly favorite, but
one of your
pretty
favorites.
Great. Yeah, she's one of my 3 favorites.
But I really appreciate you stopping by, and I love reflecting on our journey and just
thank you, man,
how much you've been a part of it. And I couldn't have done it without you.
Well, thank you, brother.
Love you, man.
Love you too, man. Appreciate you.
Well, thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, all those good things. Check us out at nolongerfatherless.org. You can watch the podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Audible, iHeartRadio. It's all over the place.
Wow.
Thank you guys for following the journey, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.